consider the application by Singh Superstore of Southall. My name is Councillor Ranjit Deer, and with me I have Councillor Julian Gallant and Councillor Kim Nagpal. So that's the three members of the panel. We also have our legal advisor, Alison Luff, and our committee clerk, Sean O'Brien. So could I now invite all others involved in the hearing today to introduce themselves, beginning with the Council's Compliance and Enforcement Officer, the police officer who's here to give evidence, followed by the applicant and her agent in this order, please.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Bob Deer. I'm the Council Licensing and Compliance Enforcement Officer for Ealing Council.
For Ealing Council, correct.
Thank you, Chair. Sergeant Dimitri Kassar, representing the Metropolitan Police Service in this hearing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And the applicant?
Chairman, I'm Mr. Panchal, representing the applicant from Personal License Courses UK Limited. The applicant is introduced.
Tamanjeet Kaur Gaba.
Tamanjeet Kaur Gaba.
Good morning, sir. Mr. Surendra, you are the agent today.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, Chair.
Not Mr. Kapoor.
Not Mr. Kapoor. No, Mr. Kapoor is my manager.
Thank you. All right. With those introductions, let me now explain the process, the procedure we're going to follow. The applicant, and in this case, her agent, will present her application, produce any witnesses, and answer any questions from the other side, including counsellors. Then the objectors will outline their objections, produce any witnesses, answer any questions from the applicant and from counsellors. So that's the procedure basically. At the end of their cases, we will move to what is called final submissions. The objectors will make their final speeches or final submissions, and the last word will be with the applicant. After that, the panel will retire and we will discuss it among ourselves and reach a decision hopefully today and come back to announce it. So with those preliminaries, let me now invite Mr. Surendra, the applicant's agent, to outline her case, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, this is an applicant made by my client on behalf of my client. We, as Personal License Courses UK Limited, put the application in. I hope you can hear me. Is that?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can others? Everybody can hear, Mr. Surendra? Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
Okay. Chairman, my client has an experience of running of licenses. She's worked 1.5 years as a sales assistant in Twickenham in a full-well local license. So she understands the 4 licensing objectives. She understands how to run an off license. She then came to an opportunity, which was, as you must have heard from the objectors, that this license was previously revoked some time back, and I was part of that hearing during that period. She did understand that the license was revoked due to what the previous owner had breaches at the premises. And she does understand the area because she has lived in Southall for more than 5 years, and she understands the area and everything. Her father owns a clothing shop in Southall and has helped her financially at the moment to buy this business. She did understand from a friend of his, Neer, who also rents the same property which she lives in. And we have submitted some documents which you must have seen in your bundle, that on 1st of June, she made an agreement with the previous owners, sublease agreement, which you have in your bundle, which you are aware of. We can take any questions if you want. The premises, if you look at it physically, is on an on and off basis at the moment, because she's awaiting for this license to be granted for the business to do the proper business that she intends to do for the from the accounts point of view and the point of view of the business making a bit of a profit. And her opportunity being young, energetic, she understands the 4 licensing objectives, she knows how to run that business. Hence, she then opened a business bank account also, which is in your bundle that you can see, a Monzo bank account that she's opened and that she's started dealing with it. She's also visited the cash and carry, where she's supposed to buy the goods, which you see in your bundle, the invoice of the cash and carry. She intends to buy all the stuff from cash and carry. She intends to buy everything from cash and carry and make sure. Yes, the objectors did find some alcohol which was in the store, which was locked up. That alcohol is to be destroyed and removed once the license is granted of what alcohol which is not going to be used. I also would like you to look at the schedule of the operating schedule in your bundle, which is on page 19. And we have clearly stated in that there will be no stock or sale of high strength alcohol canned or beers above 5.5. So it's according to the policy of the Ealing Borough. And then there will be no single cans of beers also to be sold in the area, because of the area she understands the area. There will also be no miniatures sold. Although there were some miniatures and strong alcohol found in the store, but that store alcohol will be destroyed once the license is granted. The alcohol will remain nothing. On the other hand, and we've also said that the previous owners shall not have anything to do with the business, and that is condition number 16. Previous management who owned the business or had any involvement shall not be allowed to enter the property, and they shall be banned from the premises. So we put those conditions up for the time being. I'm happy to take any questions, Chairman, if you want to. Mr. Tomanpreet Kaur is here with me. She'll also be able to answer. On promoting, before I finish, on promoting the 4 licensing objectives, there will be a staff training manual. There will be an incident book, a refusal book, all the necessary posters. There will be a CCTV as put on the schedule, Challenge 25. All the matters will be logged into the training manual. All the right to work documents will be checked. Section 57 notices will be put up. Authorization to the sale of alcohol will also be put up. And all necessary matters all staff will be trained prior to their engagement in working at the premises. Chairman, I'm happy to take any questions for the time being. I do apologize, I've lost my sound and having the problems. So, Chairman, we are happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, who wants to go first, Mr. Deer or the police officer?
Councillors.
Good morning.
Yes, yeah.
Morning, Chair. Yeah, just a couple of questions from our side. Mr. Panchal, I am aware that you stated that your client has got experience of 1.5 years dealing with this type of premises.
Yep.
My concern is, I know not that age is necessarily anything to do with it, but she is quite young, and in terms of the locale of where the business is, it is in a special priority area where we know there is a high level of antisocial behaviour, street drinkers, etc. From a police perspective, my concern is from a personal safety with her and public safety of her employees. How is that going to be managed within the environment, the business itself?
Our advice, which she's been taking on and off, which normally a lot of licenses do take our advices and they adhere to it and stick to it. A conflict management, we have advised an employee with a conflict management course. So there will be a conflict management course for one of the employees that she employs with, and that will take care, the conflict management course will take care. On the other hand, she knows majority of the people around the area because she has lived in Southall for 5 to 6 years.
All right, but what I'm trying to say is, in terms of the street drinkers, I don't think she necessarily knows them personally per se. So in terms of that, how is she going to manage them? Because I know from an antisocial behaviour perspective, public nuisance, which we know is one of the licensing objectives, and crime and disorder aspect of things. Personally, how is she going to take responsibility for managing that within her own environment?
We've put the condition that I've just mentioned to you, one of the conditions, that we will not be selling strong beers. Majority of the street drinkers prefer to have strong beers. We will not be selling single cans. Again, that will deter from street drinkers from coming to the shop to buy, because street drinkers' main thing is to drink those high strength cider and high strength alcohols, which will not be stored at the premises.
Okay. In terms of that, is there consideration in terms of the fridges where the alcohol is stored to maybe create like a barrier of some sort to make it difficult for them to potentially steal stuff and things like that? Has that been taken into consideration? Yes,
the consideration is that all the spirits are going to be behind the counter, so they will not have access to that, and the cans where the frozen will be the cans of alcohol which we put in, there will be a shutter up there.
Okay. In terms of the training, if we can go to the training that you mentioned earlier, if I may ask, how is that going to be conducted with the employees?
Yes, we've suggested that every employee should have a BIIAB level 1 course if they do not want to spend into getting a personal license, because what happens with a personal license is, A, it's very expensive, and B, they tend to go away once they've got a personal license with them. And BII level 1 conducts the underage sales and management of the sale of alcohol. So we've suggested that any person employed will undergo a BIIAB level 1 course, which we will be running at our premises.
The other thing I was going to say is, in terms of the design of the shop, where exactly will the alcoholic beverages be placed in order to make that difficult for the street drinkers, etc., to obtain and just walk out or cause?
Yeah, I'm looking at page 29 of the drawing. Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a counter. So once they enter in, there is a counter, and we are asking that the wine fridge and the shelves should be right near to the counter. If you see behind, next on the side of the counter.
Okay. And in terms of CCTV, I take it the staff will be trained on that, whatever system they have available or be utilizing.
Yes,
because I know from a policing perspective, if a crime is being recorded, and I know I've said this before, but from personal experience and on many occasions, when you want police to interact or deal with things, on many occasions the CCTV is never readily available, or when you try and contact the owner of the business, because they'll say, oh well, the owner is the only one who knows how to manage the CCTV, and you try and get hold of them and they never pick up their phone. What I'm asking is, will the staff have adequate training on that system, and will they be the ones, if they are working at the time, be able to make that readily available in terms of giving the evidence, visual evidence, to police there and then?
we are happy to add that condition, although we've got the conditions laid out. If you look at page 19 of the bundle, the CCTV will be 31 days recorded. It will be available for all the staff, will be trained for, so that it will be available to the police or the responsible authorities to have that recording immediately. And we will make sure we add that condition also. We will be asking the committee to add that condition.
Thank you. And who would be conducting that particular training?
Well, the owner, Tamanpreet, would be getting the staff password in that. Normally, they have the password in that. So she will be training the staff and showing them the password. The management of that CCTV is always on the password.
Okay. And in terms of operating the business, if I may ask, how often or how many people will be in the store at a given time? Because I would assume later on in the day, when the foot traffic gets higher, etc., I would assume there might be more than one.
If you look at page 20 of the bundle and condition 19, we've put down during any hours after 18 hours, 18 hours, which is 6 o'clock, a minimum of 2 staff must be on the premises to prevent crime and disorder.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Panchal. Thank you, Chair, for giving me the time to ask questions. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Chair, I just have a couple, if possible, please. Mr. Panchal, the applicant, or even the applicant, took over on the 1st of June. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
So, has she worked in the shop since then?
She has worked a bit in the shop at the moment. The reason I'm saying that a bit, because she's awaiting for this license to be granted so that it can fully operate the way she wants it. But she's vaguely trying to settle things up in the shop and trying to make sure that things are, all the perspectives are put into place. I do understand that during your visit, there were alcohol in the store, but those alcohol is going to be, once the license is granted, which one would be put up and which one would be destroyed would be dealt with.
Well, hopefully it's still not on the premises, because it was told to remove that on the day.
I know, I do understand that, and we did advise the client to make sure that the alcohol is removed, and she was in the process of doing it when she took over on 1st of June. She had a lot of process to carry out, like for instance, the bank account, the cash and carry accounts to be settled, which you see in the bundle that we put down at Best Way. So she is in that process of making sure. She's going to be inviting you also to make sure to say what your requirements are so that she can comply with that.
Okay. How many hours a week is she going to be in the shop?
Well, she works at Superdrug at the moment, and she's already resigned. She's already given a resignation at Superdrug that she's leaving at end of June. And sorry, when was
end of July?
End of July.
End of July. So is that the shop where she's been working for the last year and a half that you mentioned, Superdrug?
No, that's the different shop. After that, after the 1.5 years since she joined Superdrug.
So she's had 2 jobs, is that what you're saying? Or she worked in an off license before she went to Superdrug?
No. She worked at the off license first and then joined Superdrug.
And how long has she been at Superdrug?
It's only been 3 months.
3 to 4 months.
Right, okay. And how did she know Mr. Neer?
I'll ask her to explain that, Bob.
Yeah, Mr. Neer, Singh Neer, who you said earlier lives in the same address as her.
Yeah.
Or same house. How did she know him? Is that the only connection? Perhaps she can answer that.
I just rent the room in that property. I'm not related to Mr. Nirpal Singh. I don't know him personally. I just rent there. I just
Okay.
for one room. That's all.
Okay. No more questions, Chair, at this moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gilland, I can see your hands up. Do you want to ask your question?
Thank you, Chair. I think they've all been answered actually in what we've already heard. But I had a quick question. It's a very formal question. The lease is written Harvinder Singh and Nirpal Singh, and I know it's a silly question, but Nirpal Singh and Nir Singh are the same people. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's correct. All right. So, Mr. Panchal, you were when you were outlining the application, you said that there's a clause in there, and it is where is it? It's number 16 regarding Mr. Harvinder Singh, and that would, I would assume that would include Mr. Nirpal Singh as well. That they would not be allowed anywhere near the premises. They would be banned from the premises. Is that correct?
That's correct.
But what you said is, you said it, and I mean, I'm not necessarily going to hold you to it, but you said it. You said, for the time being, we've put that up. What does that mean, for the time being, that we've put that up? I mean, that's what you said to us. So can you just explain that, please? And I'm going to ask, could I ask Ms. Gabhar as well? I'd like to hear from her if she's ever handled a situation, a difficult situation, with somebody who's been drunk or who's actually come in and asked to purchase alcohol, and how she's dealt with it, given that this is in a very, very difficult area, as we very well know.
I do understand the Southall is a difficult area to face. These problems might cause, but I have dealt with this before. As I have mentioned, I have worked before. I did deal with some there was one drunk man came in and causing nuisance. So luckily we was two of them. It was after 6 p.m. We was two of them on the premises that time. Also the neighbors, they know me well. They knew me well that time as well, and they helped me as well. Neighbors helped me. I managed to get the man out of the shop. My employer helped me as well with that. And when we pushed him out of the shop, the neighbors were all there for me. They helped me.
Okay.
This is the incident she's talking about that she faced, and
Yep.
she.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's what I wanted to hear from her, that she's faced it and she's dealt with it. Can you just explain that, what you said, the remark you made, that you said we're going to leave that for the time being, that Mr. Harvinder Singh and anyone who's associated with him is not allowed near the premises? Does that mean for the duration of this lease, or does that mean for 10 years? What does that mean exactly?
I meant that at the moment there is no license. If the license is granted, automatically Harvinder Singh and his partner will not be allowed to become in the premises.
Right. Okay. That's what you're saying. And for the time being was just an off the cuff thing, because that's quite important. We're not going to find that it reverts to Mr. Singh, or either Mr. Singh or Mr. Nirpal going back on the premises at a future date. Right. Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Councillor Nagpal? Yes.
Hi. Mr. Panchal, you said that the applicant is buying the business. But the documents we've seen is that she's obtained the sublease. So is she buying the entire business, or is she just taking on the sublease and taking over the running of the business rather than purchasing the business as a going concern?
A subleasing is like buying the business. Let me put it like that. When I say buying the business, means it's subleased to her, so it's her business now to run that place. That's the way I would understand. So in other words, she's bought that off license, but the contract is a sublease when it comes to tenancy. Like I'm sitting here as a tenant to the freehold, and I have a lease of my property. So I don't know.
Actually, they're not the same thing. She's either buying the business outright from the current owner, or she's subleasing the premises and therefore now running the business.
Well, she's bought the business from the previous owners because it is a running business which she's buying. But the lease that is put up is how the tenancy would run. The tenancy would be run on a sublease.
So to clarify, she has bought the business outright from the current owner.
Yeah, because when I say bought the business, means she's bought the stock, she's bought the running business, in other words.
Okay, we've seen no document to say that she's bought the business as a going concern. That's why I'm checking.
Thank you, Mr. Gallant. Have you finished, Councillor Nagpal?
Sorry, just one more question. Yeah. I'm hoping that the applicant understands the gravity of the licensing objectives. And it's a small concern to me that the products that Bob Deere has found on the site, if you were advised or the previous owner was advised to remove them, I want to understand why they were not removed immediately. If the applicant really understands the importance of the licensing objectives, I want to know why they weren't removed immediately and why this is something that's in the process. Because we really want to understand that she understands how important it is to uphold those objectives, how important it is that the premises are managed correctly given the previous history. So I just want to understand why they haven't been removed yet, why that wasn't made a priority.
The alcohol that was stored in the why was that not removed immediately?
Okay, I was being advised that the alcohol could have kept in the storeroom. We checked the amount of alcohol, if it could have been moved, or it was, of course, the storeroom was big enough to keep all of that. But the storeroom was locked. Nobody was even allowed to touch it. No employer, nobody was allowed to touch any of the alcohol. Mr. Bob Deere arrived there. They checked everything. He advised us to move the alcohol from the premises. No more alcohol at all on the premises. Same day we removed it, we requested him to come back in 1 or 2 days to visit us again and check. But we removed it the same day, and next day it's still in the storage, but we haven't touched it since then. It's not on the premises after Bob Deere came in. The second day it was gone. All of the alcohol was gone.
So just to clarify, that or the items that Bob Deere asked you to remove have been removed from the premises?
Next day, 100%.
Okay.
Councillor Galan.
Yeah, we can't hear you, sorry.
Councillor Galan, we can't hear you. You've muted yourself.
Yes,
I think.
thank you very much. So, thanks, Chair. I was going to ask that question's been asked, but I was just going to take it on one stage further and ask Ms. Gappa, how would you go about if I said to you today, I want you to destroy that much alcohol? What would you do?
You destroy all the alcohol if you were told.
If you had to do it, you're an experienced, retailer. How would you get rid of it if you had to get rid of it?
If I had to get rid of that alcohol, to be honest, that alcohol, I do not want to have any relation with any old of the things. To be honest, I would tell Harvinder Singh, because he was the one that was responsible for whatever happened on the premises. I have read all the booklet, and I think that's not very nice of whatever he did. I will tell Harvinder Singh to take responsibility of that alcohol, because I do not want to be related to him in any past or any before buying goods. I don't want anything related to any before goods. Okay, I would take him as a responsibility.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Surendra, is your name is Mr. Surendra Panchal? What is your full name?
Surendra Panchal is my full name.
All right. So, Mr. Panchal, I want to ask Ms. Gaba. She took over the business on 1st of June. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
And Mr. Robert Deere visited the premises on 13th of June.
That's correct.
That correct?
That's correct. We do understand. I know your question.
No, let me frame the question.
Okay.
I don't want you to divine my question. Please allow me to frame it.
Okay. Okay.
My question is that between 1st of June and 13th of June, Ms. Gaba must have known what was on the premises and in that room.
Shall I ask Ms. Gaba to answer that, Chair?
Please.
Okay. From my understanding, previous owners, they had a hearing on, I think, 14th. I'm assuming, I'm not sure. 14th, but the case was withdrawn before that. But the alcohol was on the shelves before that. It was in the storage. They were selling it before, but I was in the process of doing the paperwork. This is a sublease. It's not a full lease, so it's still in the process. The thing is, alcohol was still on the shelves that time. The case was withdrawn on, I think, 13th or I think maybe 9th. I'm not sure about that.
No, it was withdrawn on the 2nd of June.
Was it 2nd?
No, Chairman, it wasn't.
9th of June, I believe, Chair.
Sorry?
It says the appeal hearing was on the 11th of June and it was withdrawn 2 days before the hearing, which would make it the 9th of June, Chair.
Yeah, thanks. So
So
it was
11th,
withdrawn on 9th of
9th
June.
of June, yeah.
9th of June. So that was 2 days prior to the hearing, and we were still in the process. I did not know that, you know, if they was going to go to the hearing or if they wasn't going to go to the hearing. The case was withdrawn on the 9th. So I only had like 4 days, and I was still talking to Mr. Panchal on what he was giving me advice on what we could do and what could not. So that is the only reason that it was in the storage. Otherwise, if I knew before, I would have taken it off all before.
Ms. Garba, I don't have great experience of running a business, but I think every person would know, as a matter of common sense, that when you buy a business, a running business, you would have a look at the stock that's coming with the running business.
Yes.
Surely you would have known that in that room, there were stacks and stacks of all sorts of illicit goods, alcohol, high-strength beer, cigarettes. You must have known that. And you
Yeah.
did not remove it until after Mr. Robertier's visit.
Like I mentioned before, that it is a responsibility.
It was
for her-
removed. Sorry, can I clarify that, the Chairman? I think you're misunderstanding. As soon as the appeal was withdrawn, the alcohol was removed from the shelves and everything, and the alcohol was removed and put it into the store, and the store was locked up. So no alcohol was allowed, or no staff had any keys or anything to go to enter the store. She knew the awareness of the other stock that was coming to her, and this stock was not supposed to be going to her. So she could, if the license was granted, or if the license is granted today, whatever stock from it would be valid would be left. The others, Harvinder will have to take it away.
Yes.
Thank you, Councillor Nagpal.
Sorry, Mr. Panchal did sort of clarify towards the end of that point, but as I asked in my previous question, you said that the applicant has purchased the business outright, which means before she moved into the premises, she would have taken a full inventory, as Councillor Day has said, of the stock within the shop and paid for it as part of the purchase of the business, which means she would have paid for any stock that was on site at the time. You have now just said that the previous owner was to take that stock away if she didn't want it. So to clarify, the new owner did not buy that stock that was prohibited,
It's not bought that stock because
but
there
she
was
allowed him to keep it on site.
Yeah, and he was to clear that stock.
Okay, and to clarify, that's now been cleared.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions from anybody?
Yes, Chair, just a quick one if possible, please.
Yes, certainly, yes.
To Ms. Scabber, you said just now that when, at the time of my visit, you were in consultation with Mr. Panchal about well, the licence and things like that, applying for the licence. Could I just, the hearing, I say, was meant to be on the 11th. It was withdrawn because, well, I know why it was withdrawn. And you put an application, or Personal Licence Courses put an application on the 6th of June.
That's correct.
Your application was made on the 6th of June. So you were already applying for a licence when I visited the shop on the 13th. You knew about the alcohol. When I spoke to the young lad in there, the shop worker, I asked him to ring the boss, thinking it was going to be you. He then put me on to Mr. Neer, who I said, have you just taken over the business? And he said, yes, I'm the new owner. So how can you account for that?
No, I'm not sure if he spoke to you. I did read the booklet. I was questioning that as well, but he's not the new owner. He has sold a business to me. He's not the new owner.
Okay, so you're the new owner on the 1st. You apply for the license. It's got on here the application the 6th of June.
Yep.
The appeal is withdrawn on the 9th. And on the 13th, I pop along, and in the rear store, which I found the key very easily, in a box on the counter. The key was on that counter, so any member of staff could have opened that cupboard any time. It was so easy, I couldn't believe it, and sold alcohol under the counter, if that, as they call it.
I do understand what you mean, and your perspective is totally right. But the thing is, I made sure nobody even went to the store. Even my washroom is in the store, but I did not allow my employees to go to the even washroom use, because I didn't want them to touch anything. I was still in the process for Harminder Singh to remove the alcohol, to remove everything. I was just waiting for him. I did rush him quite a bit, but that's all I can say, that because I was in the process. It's not my stock. It was there. I did rush even after when you came. Same day I kept removing it. I told him, you don't have any more, allowed to the premises anymore. Just take everything away. I made sure that when after you went, they started taking it out, and next day it was all removed. I made sure of that it was removed. But it was his stock.
Okay. On that last point then, sorry, I'm just going to say that, as Councillor Nagpar actually did mention, surely you took an inventory of that alcohol. You bought the stock, you didn't, so you would have known what was in there.
Like he mentioned before, my lawyer, I did not buy any alcohol stock from them. So
he hasn't bought any alcohol stock.
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't got any alcohol stock from them, so I did not look at whatever they had or whatever they was doing. And even I received the booklet now, so like before my hearing, so now I knew whatever had happened on the premises. Before, I did not know in all the details.
Okay, no problems, thank you. So you didn't buy any spirits,
No.
You didn't buy any beer. How are you financing this purchase?
I've already mentioned to you that her father owns a clothes shop in Southall, and her father is helping her, and she's got her own savings also. The father's helping her.
Right, so he's a businessman. He's a businessman. He should know, and I'm sure he's giving you some good advice. Because at the moment you haven't got enough money to restock the shop, have you, in your bank account?
How can you say that?
Well, because there's 600 odd pounds in there, Mr. Panchal.
Mr. Dear, that is the account opened up. That was the Monzo is the account that she's opened up for business. It is not her private account.
And 7 days ago, the business account only had £600 in. Sure, she's not going to buy the stock from her own money. She's going to put it through the business so she can claim the VAT back.
Yeah, that's what she's going to do. Once she the stock money is going to come from her private account and from her father's account. That is how it's going to work. This account, Monzo, that you're seeing that we've sent you, is been open as a business account to run. So that money from the cash and carry, if you look at the bill there, is paid from that account because it's a business account.
Okay, sorry. You formed the company in 27th of June 2023 for local Singh Store Limited. Is that correct?
2023, did you say?
It says appointed on the 27th of June 2023.
Supposed to be 2024.
It's supposed to be 2024.
You sent the document in, Mr. Panchal, as evidence.
Sorry, can you?
It's the document you sent the other day and asked to be distributed. It's this one. It says quite clear at the bottom, Tamanjeet Kaur Gabhar, with a correspondence address in the West Midlands, active role, active director, date of birth, appointed on, and nationality. So, I mean, it's not a problem. If you're saying it's a mistake, a clerical error by Companies House, that's not a problem. Just wondering how you, I did wonder how you thought of that name in 2023, and then you've just purchased Singh Superstore.
Sorry, Bob, I need to ask Manpreet about that because I did not.
Yep.
Yeah.
No problem, Mr. Panchayat. It's obviously, it could be a mistake. They do make them. But that's it. Thank you, Chair. No more questions.
Thank you, Mr. Dear. Councillor Gallant.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just for my clarity, is the alcohol all still in the back room, in the locked back room as of today, including the high strength beers and so on, or has it been removed completely from the premises?
Like I mentioned before, when Bob Deere came in, I removed it the same day. Alcohol is not on the premises. It's been more than a month.
Okay, so it's not in the back room either?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Panchal, I want to ask you a question that's to Mrs. Garba, that in the police report, there are some let us say, allegations at this stage that not only this store has been selling illicit, alcohol and cigarettes, they've also been dealing in stolen goods. And in the report, in the police report, there are two reports from police where they refer to an incident where a person who had taken a bag into the store and left it there was detained by police, and he gave a statement. So really, it adds another dimension to the activities that go on in the store, the issue of encouraging people to go and steal from stores in the vicinity and handling and selling stolen goods. What would you say about those reports?
Yes, Chairman, we agree on what you are saying, but it's not this. This is we are talking about the previous owners. We are not talking about Mrs. Gaba.
I don't know what the police reports relate to. Perhaps the police officer can help us here. I think I've got it with me. Let us see.
Chair, there are
Correct.
Chair, you're quite correct. There are two incidents. One is on the 30th of May 2024, where officers were flagged down by staff members of Iceland with regards to a shoplifting that had taken place, where 3 or 4 cases of Starbucks iced coffee was taken from the venue. They've then followed the suspect into Singh Superstore, and he was seen holding a shopping bag with these items in, and then handing them over to staff members at the store at that particular time. With regards to that, when the chap inside the store, who I presume was an employee of Singh's store, Superstore at the time, saw police, they pushed the bag straight back to the shoplifter, and then the gents who had done the shoplifting were then detained, and they'd explained that they were being offered 75p per bottle in terms of it's all in the report, but yeah, there appears to be that. Then again, on the 1st of June 2024, a similar incident has occurred where a store detective has witnessed 2 suspicious males believed to be dealing with stolen goods. In this case, it was whiskey and chocolates which had tags on. So, oh, sorry, that was the 6th of June. Now, I'm aware in terms of timeline, please just, I'm aware of timeline, but I believe
the first year to go.
Yeah, Miss Gabba took over the premise on the 1st of June. So I'm not accusing her of anything here, but there appears to be an overlay here between the past owner and Miss Gabba. And I suppose, were you aware of any of this happening at the time, Miss Gabba? Or was any of this relayed to you, or in terms of stock? You know, because unfortunately this is attached to the previous owners and the reputation of Singh Superstore as it currently is known.
I do understand that, but I assure you that I wasn't aware of any of this. I was still aware of any of this. To be honest, I'm young. I'm passionate about opening my own business. I'll be honest with you. I do not want to do any of this, all of this thing, nuisance, anything. I just want to create a positive environment. I know what kind of a place Southall is. I just want to create a positive environment. I do not want to deal with any of this, with whatever the previous owner has done.
Mrs. Gaba.
Yes.
We heard what you say, and we respect your intentions for the future, but you cannot deny that it happened under your watch on 6th of June. You took over the store, they bought the business on 1st of June, and this is the second report, second incident on 6th of June, and you cannot say that you did not know this. The first report, the first incident occurred on 30th of May, the second on 6th of June, a week after, which to me tells that it is a continuation of the practices from the previous owner to the new owner, that is yourself. You cannot deny that it happened under your watch. You cannot deny responsibility.
I never voted. I assure you that I never voted. I would never. I did not. I am not sure. I did not know.
It's no use, Mrs. Gaba, saying that you never did it. You never bought it, but it happened in your store when you were the owner.
Yeah, but then
Anyway, thanks very much, unless you want to add anything to what you've said already.
All I would say that I will ensure that previous owner is not involved if I get the license today. Harvinder Singh, Neopal Singh would never be involved, would never be seen on the premises. I would make sure that none of this, whatever has happened in the past, none of this happens ever again, ever. I will invite Mr. Bob as well to have a look, give me his conditions as well, if he likes. Have a look at the shop, and if anything happens, he can revoke my license straight away, same day. I would not object that. I will make sure everything is going correctly and smoothly. I will definitely make sure of that.
Mrs. Gaba, sorry, Councillor Nakbal, yes, you go on.
Thank you, Chair. Just really to reiterate the statement you just made. It's really our responsibility to understand today, Ms. Gabba, that you take the licensing objectives seriously, that you're able to uphold them. I just want to understand, you have no previous business experience, is that correct, in terms of running and owning your own business?
My own business?
Yeah.
No.
So this would be your first business?
Yes.
Okay.
I have worked in retail before. I have worked in off license before. I have worked as a retailer for so long.
Okay. Yes. So as a business owner myself, I understand the process that you would have undergone in the weeks running up to the date that you took over that business. If you took over that business from the 1st of June, you presumably would have been involved in learning about the business, how it's run, getting acquainted with the staff that you would have taken on as part of purchasing the business. You would have tried to be on the premises beforehand to get hands-on with how it operates, so that the day you take over, you can hit the ground running and operate that business. So on the 30th of May, when those Starbucks drinks were coming in, I'm not stating that you were on the premises, but presumably you would have had some involvement in the business at that point, because you were taking over the next day. In addition to that, on the 6th of June, if something like these sort of stolen goods were coming into the premises again, at that point, as Councillor Deer has pointed out, you were in charge of those premises. And for us to feel confident that you're able to uphold the licensing objectives, we need to know that you take matters like this seriously. So why did something like that happen on the 6th of June when you were in charge of those premises? And how can we walk away from this knowing that you take the licensing objectives seriously in light of this issue happening on the 6th of June? Thank you.
I do take everything seriously. I was not aware of this happening in my store. I was not aware. I promise you that.
Ms. Garba, if you're not aware of the stock in the stock room on the 1st of June when you took over, if you were not aware that these...
It was the paperwork going
No,
on.
let me finish. You were not aware of the stock in the stock room. You were not aware of the stolen goods coming into your store on the 6th of June. It's a reflection on your ability to understand the objectives of the licensing. As Councillor Nagpal has said, what confidence do we have in your ability for the future, that you understand the serious responsibilities that you have of running this business in a special policy area? And you say that you know Southall, you would also know that there's a huge problem of antisocial behavior in the area. Now, all these things really stack up to a picture that you did not take your duties very seriously at the time.
To be honest, I was still in the process of the paperwork. Like we said, that case was withdrawn on the 9th, but so Harvinder Singh was still there until the 9th of June. I was still in the process of paperwork. This is a sublease. I do understand it's on my name from 1st of June, but I was still going through a lot of paperwork. Harvinder Singh was still there. And like I mentioned before, the alcohol in the storage, he put it there. He was still involved a little bit at time. I hadn't taken on fully.
Thank you, Councillor Gallant. Do you have anything else to ask?
No, thanks, Chair. I'm fine for the moment. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you very much to all sides. And we now move to final submission. Then, so Mr. Deer, followed by the police officer. Please, Mr. Deer.
Chair, I don't think the responsible authorities have actually made their representations yet. Or am I wrong? I know they've asked questions.
So who wants to have more questions?
Bob Deer needs to make a presentation.
Chair, I'll keep it very short and sweet because I think everybody appreciates we have discussed this very thoroughly. My representation is based firstly on the previous ownership who, as they were on appeal, they were given the benefit of being able to trade until basically they got a new purchaser. That's all they do. They get a new purchaser because they know they're not going to win the appeal. So they've dragged it out, and you would actually have thought they'd be on their best behaviour. You know, I feel sorry for Miss Girl because she's been, I think the expression is hung out to dry a little bit by everybody. She's been asked to take on a license or apply for a license to so they can just trade on, continue the processes that they have been running for the last few years. Obviously, this premises is in the special priority area that we all know, and the reason that was actually put there in the first place. Southall has got the most off licenses are on the borough, and it's, you know, it's a presumption, rebuttable presumption, to refuse all new applications unless there's exceptional circumstances. I don't think we've heard any exceptional circumstances. You know, it does mention there that we can substitute one premises for another. Well, all we're doing is taking one license with one right hand, which is already gone, and it's solved a problem, and we're going to give it back with, they want us to give it back with the other hand, which I like the thing Ms. Gabber said, that if you grant a license today, you can revoke it if you catch me doing something wrong. Well, no, we've already revoked a license to that premises. It's not an easy process to revoke a license because it can drag on for 9 months. So if you've got a bad trader that can continue for 9 months, up to 9 months, sometimes longer. So the easiest thing to do is to refuse the license, and that's what I'm asking for you to do. There are dwellings nearby. That's what the policy says. It is a highly residential area. There's actually Mr. Panchel actually got the license. There's a meat shop a couple of doors along that's got a license. There's one across the road that's got a license. And we all know, and if Miss Gubber has lived in the area for 6 years, she knows what South Road and the corner of Beaconsfield Road is, with street drinkers, antisocial behaviour. And we've obviously heard from the police about the amount of shoplifting that goes on. Now, I visit the premises on the 13th, you've heard. That key, you know, I'm no sniffer dog. You know, I found that key very easily to unlock that door. The excuse I was given was, no, we've only got one key, and that's in my, I've got it here. That's what Mr. Neer told me. He told me that key was in his possession. Well, like I say, it took me a few seconds to find it, 2 seconds to unlock it, and then he suggested, no, you haven't unlocked it. You ain't in there. So I had to make a short video, which I haven't produced today, of how I opened it so quickly. And then the excuse was that was taken off the toilet, that lock, which, as you've heard, is inside the storeroom. So I don't know really why they couldn't have bought a new lock if that was this thing. The leaseholder, you know, he is the main leaseholder, Mr. Harvinder Singh. So he will still have some involvement. The bottles that we found there and things, yeah, we've seen pictures of what I've put there. Carpacci 9%, and as you've heard from the police, and I don't want to steal their thunder, but you know, this is a premises that is well known for accepting stolen property. The previous owners, we found stolen goods, stolen spirits, stolen wine, stolen champagne in there on one visit. So it's well known. It will always be well known as being able to go there or try and sell goods there. So my recommendation is that this licence is refused. Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Police officer, do you want to make your representation, please?
Hello, Chair. Thank you very much. I can only echo what Bob Deere has said from the local authority licensing strand has stated, but from a policing perspective, I think that Ms. Gubber, from today's hearing, whilst I understand she has answered the questions regarding CCTV, the training of staff, etc., when it comes to understanding the 4 licensing principles of preventing crime and disorder, public nuisance, public safety, I don't think it has been demonstrated that she quite understands these things in terms of their root. And by that, what I mean is we are aware that this particular store is in a special policy area on Beaconsfield Road. There is From a public health side of things, in terms of a high volume of LAS calls to the area regarding street drinkers, assaults, etc. And I'm not saying that this store is the sole cause for that, but it contributes to that. Together with what we've already discussed, and I don't want to harp on that, is the 2 incidents I've alluded to in terms of the shoplifting, which has happened. One of the incidents has happened at the time of Miss Gabbard taking over the license from the previous owner. It has occurred kind of on her watch, because at that time she's been the license holder of the venue. So from our side of things, from a policing perspective, I feel that whilst I understand Miss Gabbard's intentions are probably honourable and I think somewhat naive, Chair, and I hope that's not disrespectful. I don't think she's taken the 4 licensing principles in their route, and therefore from a policing perspective, we say, could you consider it not being granted today? And that's it from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Officer. Mr. Panchal, your chance now to convince us why we should grant this license.
Thank you very much, Chair. 2 things that I'd like to put forward when you're talking about granting of the license. Here is a young person trying to get herself into a business opportunity that she's found. She's trying to do everything that she can in her possession, how best she could go forward. She wasn't the license holder on the 9th, as you see, if you heard the police say just now that she was taking over the license and it's what she wasn't the license holder on the 1st of June when she took over. The license still belonged to Arvinder Singh. She made sure that her documents were trying to get into place. She made sure every efforts were made when Bob Deere came into the premises to make sure those alcohol was removed, and it was done immediately after she saw that the alcohol was removed. When the premises was, the appeal was withdrawn, she made sure there was no alcohol displayed on the premises and there was no alcohol sold to anybody. Yes, she locked the premises. Yes, she was in the process of trying to make sure all the documents are in place and the shop is in place. She was only buying the stock, which was non-alcoholic and not the alcohol stock that she was trying to do. There is an opportunity for a young person to go forward. She understands the 4 licensing objectives. She has previously worked in an off license for 1.5 years and understood what the 4 licensing objectives are. She did not breach any of those conditions during her period of work there. She worked in Superdrug. Superdrugs normally don't employ people who have got a bad reputation or bad thing, and she was very popular in Superdrug, although with their 3 months period she had. Here she has found an opportunity. The parents are backing her up. Whoever shop in Southall, she understands the area. She wants to go forward, and I think a chance should be given to her to go forward. She is happy even to challenge to this responsible authorities that if I were to breach anything, yes, I'm happy to withdraw my license. So she is putting all her efforts into making sure that she goes forward or moves forward. License at this very moment is very essential for her if financially she was going to succeed in her life. She's young, she is mature, and it's a chicken and egg thing that you always listen to. And I think that there are conditions in the guidance which clearly states what are the way forward in promoting the 4 licensing objectives. She has been put everything in place. She understands that all the staff that she's going to employ are trained on the BII level 1. She has put the training manual which the previous owners did not have. She's put everything in place, the refusal book and everything. You have come across in presentation by the police on many occasions saying that yes, she is good enough in answering our questions. Yes, there were negative points, but there are less negative points compared to what more positive points she's got. And I think with those positive points, it is in my view that she would be allowed to go forward and be allowed to carry on and create a better environment for her and for her future. And your future lies today in your hands. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Benchel. Well, thank you to everybody who's come to give evidence and help us today. It's just after 12 o'clock, and I am going to say that we reconvene at 1:45. Come back at 1:45. If we take longer in our discussions, our clerk, Mr. O'Brien, will let you know. But as of this stage, we will now go into deliberations and come back at 1:45. Is that clear to everybody?
Thank you very much, Chair.